Hello, family. Michael here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to the Unscripted Support Podcast. It's a very, very, very special day today for two things. One, we have a very special guest that he's an awesome husband, an awesome father. He's also an entrepreneur, but also it's special because this is our first episode. So in reality, I think it's both things that really have me very excited. But today, like I mentioned, we have a special guest called Robert Bob Poe. Uh, so I'll let you, Bob, make your own introduction. This story is yours, but I just want to make sure that we highlight everything you've done. That for me is amazing.
Okay, awesome. So I'm Bob. So Robert's the only one I get in trouble with my mom. But so nice to meet everybody. And a little bit about me. That I am the father of two special needs boys, both with autism. They were twins, and they were diagnosed at age 3. And we're two definitely different areas of the spectrum as parents with kiddos with having autism. Definitely know. We have Evan and we have Ethan, and we have moved from ourselves from North Carolina down to Florida. Had really kind of started a new life of schooling, and it led us into a whole different awesome world of for our family of surfing, which is crazy, and paddleboarding, which we'll get into that later. But it's led me down a path of entrepreneurship, and part of that, if it wasn't for us really doing the Florida move and some of these things that we were exposed to with other families and organizations, it would have never led me to where we are. I'm currently the partner with of a company called JBP Media Group, and my background is in e-commerce. So we do website development, digital marketing, SEO, lead generation, link building, things is that stuff. But the big thing is that we do like to give back. I'm a coach of Special Olympics for paddleboarding for Hillsborough County in Florida. My partner is he is a father of a son who has experienced some physical health challenges with his heart, and we have just really matched up using our skills and growing the company. So, and this is an area that is very near and dear to both of our hearts of dealing with either giving back to the Special Olympics or even to the American Heart Association in our earnings. So that's a little bit about me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, I completely understand when you mentioned about that you moved here and you became an entrepreneur. It's very difficult. I think I've mentioned it before in other interviews I've had that very difficult to carry a 9 to 5 job and have kids with therapy, 20 plus hour therapy a week. It's
Yep.
very difficult. And I think that, entrepreneurship, you want to buy your time back, but
Yeah.
also, you know, what would you say to those parents? And I have a couple of questions so we can go on, but
Sure.
not everybody's entrepreneur driven. I believe that there's also something called entrepreneur that is basically being like an entrepreneur but within an institution or a company.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but what would you say for those parents who don't really believe that they have the skills to become an entrepreneur? I have my own belief, but I want to hear yours. What would you say to them?
It, it, I what There are things that, first of all, I've always been. I love that the term, dare to suck at something new, but and I definitely have done that.
Hmm.
But what I've learned over the years of navigating in either the corporate world and now really driving our own company is that you have it already. As a skill level, as parents of dealing with kids with special needs, there are a lot of soft skills almost that we've built that not necessarily go on a resume, but all the problem solving, the last minute, the scheduling, the balancing, everything you have to do. you've built that skill already. You just have to tap into it. And raising my boys is one of the scariest things that I had ever have had to face. It was actually, it was a fear of mine when we were having kids that
Yeah.
I see other kids. I'm like, I would be a terrible special needs parent, and and
Yeah.
every day I probably feel like that. But
Yeah.
it it I've already faced some of the biggest scary challenges, and we do every day. But when I decided to throw in the entrepreneur side, it's failed test.
Okay.
We've stumped our toe, but it's always bouncing back, and my wife and I have learned that we're going to continue to bounce back, no matter if it's socially, if it's financially, if it's spiritually, and this is just one piece of the puzzle that makes us up. So if you're doubting, you're going to doubt yourself. You're going to be you're going to have those incredible highs and go, I can do this, and then you're going to wake up the next morning going, what am I doing? I'm an imposter. Oh my gosh. But like
Yeah.
any other entrepreneur, but we get the added spice of yeah, there's the extra pieces of our life that um I'm claiming back, and it's not easy. It's hard, but it is so rewarding. Just like, yeah, again, my goals for my boys are different than what they would have been.
Mm.
And we have a typical daughter, a neurotypical daughter that we have those goals for her too, but it's different, and you learn to appreciate it. So I just think if you've got an idea, if it's passionate about it, you owe it to yourself to go for it. And even if it's starting from a side gig standpoint and
Mm.
you want to grow, yeah, myself, my business partner, when there's juggling of job and life and the business, and you'll get there.
Yeah. Yeah. I always, mention that if you have anxiety, if you have uncertainty, you're in the right place.
you, God puts you in a lot of uncomfortable
Yeah.
positions,
Oh yeah.
and just you have to embrace it. And I've learned a lot of patience. I learned persistence,
Yeah.
resilience. We definitely, this community, we every parent we've met from organizations from Surfers for Autism, which is down here in Florida, to special, they're so resilient, and they're just nothing's going to stop us. And I think that we've been told our kids are limited, um, which makes us believe we're limited as well, I think, sometimes as parents.
Yeah.
So just you have to press on. But we have the skills here.
100%. 100%. When you see me looking down, just see my notes and taking notes here. So, uh,
You're not falling asleep on me. Okay, thank you.
no, 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 worry, don't worry. So, that's perfect. I think the same way. So we're aligned with that. And now raising a parent raising, I would say neurotypical, neurodivergent. What would you say are lessons you've learned or you weren't prepared for, I would say.
So our
From both,
situation
from
from
maybe from a
both,
yeah, from both.
yeah, yeah. So um, the interesting part. So my we have a daughter who is 6 years difference in our daughter and our boys.
Yeah.
So she was used to always being the one. She was the only child. It was, and then when we found out we're having twins, she was going to go, oh, I get a pair of sisters and you got a pair of brothers. And so typical. Yeah, I'm not happy about that stuff, from her, but from her,
Yeah.
um, uh, she has, and we'll talk about that again in a minute. We just published a book, but she was contributing into that, and it was her perspective of she needed support.
Mm.
And the she persevered. We did our best. So she got into dance, she got into soccer, she got into gymnastics.
Nice.
We went all around the world of what is she going to do. She ended up dancing. We highly supportive, and I think my wife and I did a good job of
Nice.
providing for her on everything that she needed, as a big sister, and as a result, she is absolutely amazing with the boys. But her thing was understanding her, where she was coming from, some of the
Hmm.
challenges she ran into as a fifth grader, as a sixth grader girl, was just wow. Some of the things that were said to her about her brothers, and it was never a thought that would have come from some of these really nice families kids mouths. But
Yeah.
she was labeled as some differences there, and that was really hard on her. And
Mm.
finding a resource, an outlet for her with like siblings who understood where she was coming from, of
Yeah.
having mom and dad having to deal with extreme meltdowns, and you go to Disney World and security's called on you because your kid's having a meltdown, and it's she's
Yeah.
highly embarrassed. Oh my gosh, she's mortified. And it was kind of like, hey, we're all mortified, or we're all having to deal with it. But that was some of the things that would just make sure that that sibling, younger or older, I think there's perspective there too of
Mm.
what they're used to. But they need to know mom and dad are there and can help understand where they're coming from, because there were many times we didn't, and we just didn't. We were either wrapped up in our own, I mean, twins wrapped up in the chaos
Yeah.
and things like that. So that's for her. But I think that was one of the lessons we definitely learned. And luckily, she is thriving.
That's all.
She has a great relationship with both the boys, and we feel really confident when we're not here. We got somebody. From the
Sure.
boy standpoint, the lessons learned. I learned how to fix a lot of holes in the walls. But I think there was a lot of guilt there, because you hit milestones,
Yeah.
and you hit milestones that, or a guilt, and maybe even grief.
Mhm.
That was scary. It was, we're diagnosed. What's going to happen? And I say, we're lucky. Our boys are, I say, I call it the medium functioning, high, kind of the medium high functioning
Okay.
area. But we have a lot of friends that they're a lot more challenged than even we are with their children. But it was, I think, the guilt and the grief of what was supposed to be and what is reality,
Yeah.
and then you learn to start trying to find those celebrations. And I, I will even looking like on social media. I mean, I'll admit, you look on social media and there's, you know, little Billy is now 18 and he just got accepted to Harvard and Yale and
Yeah.
Princeton all at the same time, full ride, and we're proud parents. Well, we tied our shoes today, and yes, and that's awesome. And
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 so that's enough.
and that's enough. Exactly. And it's sad because little Billy's parents are still may not be that happy. So because
Uh-huh.
he didn't get into Notre Dame or to Carolina or to Miami or whatever. But
Yeah.
um so that the you're going to have those grief moments, and they're natural. They're
Yeah.
going to happen. You avoid putting yourself in some of those situations.
Mm. Yeah.
You learn who's going to be your advocates and who's going to just not be there. We found that people that we were thick and thin with us early on days and were friends, and we were, it just they didn't really it didn't have, I don't say they had the stomach for it. They're not bad
Yeah.
people. It just wasn't equipped, or their children weren't equipped, or
Yeah.
they couldn't do that. We've met some amazing people along the way. We learned how to go to a restaurant, uh, and you walk in the door, and I instead of so you're going to get the dirty looks, or we at least
Yeah.
did, because we're bothering somebody. And so we get that restaurant team involved. Hey, this is who we are. This is what's going on. So
Yeah.
we want to be respectful of other patrons, and
Yeah.
can you make sure that we're in a good spot? And all of a sudden, it's you've got everybody has a story. It's kind of like that. It's almost like a second set, 2 degrees of separation as opposed to seven. The waitress, oh, my brother, my best friend's brother, something. Boom, we got you. And
Yeah.
we've had. Sorry, we've had people who have just really come to our rescue, and and
Yeah.
and that's emotional for us
Yeah.
because they don't know who we are.
Yeah. No, no, 100%.
So,
100%.
but I would say that um, sorry to
No,
hear
no,
up there. I apologize. So, my brother's the crier, not me.
no.
But
Me too. I'm the crier too.
but I think that we did find a lot of people along the way, and that are in our life, and we keep our
Yeah.
circles small now.
Mm,
I'm lucky to have worked with some companies that have been really amazing about it.
nice.
Some have been lessons learned, and it's been that we've just that you're going to find your angels. You're going to find those advocates, and that's where you want to be.
Yeah.
And we, as you said, you've had some crazy comments made to us that we would never expect out of people,
Mm,
and you realize, okay, that's who you are. All right, that's your problem, not mine. We're not gonna play together in the sandbox anymore. We're done. So,
yeah.
anyway, all right. So yeah,
Yeah.
that would be it. And I guess I just everybody there's a blame game that happens. I think initially when we got diagnosed of whose fault is it, not between me and my wife saying that to each other, but you may have family who go
Yeah.
that doesn't come from our family. That's got to be hers, or that's got to be his. And again, very luckily, we've got a lot of support there from our families of not playing the blame game. Maybe a little denial here or there because it was just something that came out of the blue for our family, and both sides of the family.
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah,
can understand. I'm with you there. Everything you mentioned resonates 100%. And I think these are the conversations that are not, are often not spoken.
yeah.
Everybody that goes through it knows it, but those who don't, you know,
Uh-uh.
obviously,
Yeah,
hard.
you're just never prepared. I
Yeah,
mean, you really aren't.
yeah, you never are. And now having, for example, I want to touch a little bit on the topic of around siblings. That's something that there's several topics that I love to talk about because again, it's not even in our own families, it's even a point of conversation, which is we talk about blended families, we talk about siblings, there's guardianship, and in your case with siblings, obviously you've done an amazing job. And I've seen other families that, they're separated, everybody's in one state and they're in another, or it gets complicated, right? So
Right.
in regards to the siblings, for those families that might not, what I see is that there's a lot of possible false expectation that falls on a sibling just
Yeah.
because they're a sibling, right? They're like expected to be the guardian. They're expected, but it's never talked about, right?
Exactly.
So in that case, in the upbringing, did you ever have that conversation with your daughter around that possibility? Not in a way that it's mandatory, but in a way that, it's just conversational to see if she would be on board at one point or anything. It's just for families to, that those families that haven't even sparked the conversation and can at least think about it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That it's been a little bit of both. Of course, yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, my daughter Abby, you know, oh, you're old. It's kind of natural. I mean, it's like, oh, you're going to be the guardian, but the one thing we did want to be clear to her about, especially as we realized that she was as she was growing through this, was that look, we never want the boys to be your responsibility. That's just that you can't do that to them. I mean, some people are equipped, some people are, to an extent. She is equipped. She's equipped. She can handle them. I mean, teenage years. Oh my God, no. I mean, it was like, don't base it on that because
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to, we got the exorcism going on with a teenage daughter, and it's like, no, you're going to take care of the boys. But now, but she had to be willing, and that's the thing. Like, we never want to. There may be some responsibilities you're going to have regarding um, um, just the oldest kid and you're going to be the one in charge of, you'll have power of attorney over us if we're in a situation. That's natural between me and my brother. I mean, he's the older one. Luckily he's an accountant, thank God. But that's kind of a natural thing. But we have always told her we never want, I don't want to use the word burden, but that's the word. I never want the boys to be a burden on you. If never to stop your life. If you end up packing up and and you and your significant other end up moving to Europe and you need to go live your world and your dreams, and we'll work it out with how, because we didn't know where they're going to land either, and we have a pretty good idea of their abilities and what we kind of starting to get a better future on idea of where we're going to kind of head. But no, that is, and I've watched some siblings. Most siblings that I have seen or have witnessed um, have. Um, have that just naturally have stood up. The families that at least I have that we've been close to, where they've had older or a younger sibling, there it's amazing to watch that, because I think it changes them too, and they realize that bond between the brother sister brother the sibling bond, it doesn't go away. And I think honestly that um, the bond between my daughter and my boys is stronger than if they were typical. And I mean, if that would be the case, but it's that is one thing. Yeah, just I would say you got to let them go, live their dreams, live their life, and hopefully they'll help you out. But yeah, that's going to be a personal thing. But we're very lucky that she's willing to. She already says that's just going to happen. And the her my daughter's dating, and her soon to be fiance, boyfriend, whatnot. But she said anybody I date, anybody I marry, they're a package deal.
Yeah. Well,
And
that's good. The reason why I've seen and I've, heard a lot about this topic is because
yeah,
there are parents that believe, hey, my son will not need a caregiver later, and he's going to exhaust autism. He's going to, and it gets to the point
mm-hmm.
that they have so much faith that their child might not need any support or might be independent, that they really don't talk about it because they believe that they will not need it
Yeah,
until the moment comes, right?
so right, so you're there, right?
And I believe that having that conversation is very important because, even if that sibling, let's say, commits to becoming a possible caregiver, her or his or her life can change, right? As well.
Yes.
And in a lot of ways, not done because, but life changes. So it's
Mm-hmm.
good for parents to have different type of scenarios, different type of conversations around this because it's very, very, very important. So
Yeah.
no, thank you for that. Thank you. And I would say something that I wanted to know, it's more around the business.
Yeah.
It's having a business, raising a family that may have the unique needs. How do you balance work, life? Sometimes when you starting a business, you work even weekends.
Mhm.
You work all the time. You want to make sure that everything you're doing, because you're starting from scratch, and
Yep.
it takes away sometimes time from the family. So for those who are thinking of going to entrepreneurship for the first time from scratch,
Yeah.
um, what should they be watching out for or just expecting in the first couple of months or years, for example?
Um, so the first couple of years, um, my my partner said it good. Some days I feel like, we take two steps forward and three steps back sometimes. And you do, and it feels like it. We've had, oh, let's do this, it's going to work, and then hey, something that didn't work. So be prepared. Unless you've got Mark Cuban who's handing you $1 million in investment and you're ready to roll.
Yeah, gotta have a strategy there. I think we kind of lost you there, Bob, on the audio.
Sorry, can you hear
Okay,
me?
now,
All right.
perfect.
I think I covered the. Sorry. Whoops.
We're-
Um, so yeah, even you have the Mark Cubans of the world giving you the big investments, but yeah, you could have the $1 million idea, but you got to go sell the $1 million idea, or you may have, and you may be Superman, Superwoman, being able to do, as far as, in our world, being able to do everything e-commerce, but you better have some connections. You better be able to. So there's everything. There's going to be but.
Yeah.
Um, the so you're not going to probably find yourself being profitable or even making money at the
Mm,
beginning. Yeah, yeah, I can tell you that for sure. Um, and but you do learn of what I was used to having a marketing budget and from companies, and it was earmarked and this, and all I had to do was just convince, and I'm convincing myself, and I have to. Luckily, I do have. Uh, I do believe in having a partner, and this is why I was always kind of solo, but it's someone to kind of hold that accountability.
mm,
Because Bob wants to go spend something on this thing, but Jacob's like,
yeah.
let's play a little devil's advocate, so we are able to balance each other out a little bit. So, and making sure that someone's watching this part, someone's watching that part, responsibility, so we can move faster and we can move smarter. And so I I love the fact that if you've got someone in the business with you that is of the same, that does not in every business, but in my business, it definitely helps.
Oh,
In my world, that's not for everybody.
yeah,
Um,
100%.
and the resources too. From a personal standpoint, have a very supportive spouse,
Yeah,
a very understanding one, because yeah,
yeah,
it is weekends, it can be nights, it can be holidays. At least in my business, it could be, hey, something broke on Friday night, and you get to fix it. So I don't have an IT support guy, or that type of stuff. So it's um, it is everybody has to be on board. I'm lucky because my boys know what I'm doing, and they are just they think it's especially where we evolved the business from, how we started the business. So
yeah.
they've always been on end because the story's always been about them, regarding why I started the business,
Mm,
why I got going,
yeah,
why my business partner started his business, why he got going. Both of our whys are, we want to give our families a lot better life than the 9 to 5 world. And you have to sacrifice. I had to sacrifice things so we can get to where we want to be. But we're gonna do it, And um, so just everybody better be on board, or at least at least be very understanding, and just patience, 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 and persistence.
that's good. And just going back to the family part, I would say,
Yeah.
um, there's a lot of I see it a lot. Hopefully, it resonates with you. But there's a lot of noise like around the word support, right? And what I do see is that there's a difference between support that everybody talks about and support that really actually helps.
Yep.
Um, what what would you say around that? You know, and everybody, even I see that everybody wants to build a nonprofit. When you see it, it really doesn't provide much value to families. But there are other families and other nonprofits or other support systems that truly provide. But how would you say, how would you advise a family what to watch out for example, when they're seeking support in any way?
So it's for us, depends what your goals are. But for us, um, we came across it early, and it was a family that they had two children that were on the spectrum, and their whole thing was to fix, and blame. And I can't get into that argument. It's yeah, we got that, but for me, it's support, and I think recognize the fact if someone is or they just want to fix your kids, my kids don't need fixing.
Mm.
Yeah, and my kids are perfect. Are challenged? Yeah, and they turn my life upside down. Absolutely, um, but there are people that um, uh, want to support by providing connections like this. I mean, you're definitely supporting. I mean, you're doing a good thing. You're providing connections. We can reach out. You can find and doing business with other businesses like this. You go, okay, you already get that level of I got you, I got it, I understand. So from a support level, we recognize. I mean, again, your daily activities of going to the restaurant. There's a support thing. For us, again, my thing was it was sports and just where we got our boys involved. And the organization we'd gotten involved with was, they were support. They provided an environment, a day on the beach, non-judgmental with other families, and my kid could have a meltdown and no one would care, or no one would stare. They would help.
That's a
Then it's actual support because now you're connecting with other families, you're connecting with other people who go, I got it. I totally get it. And so that's support. And resources, fix. Okay, well, do we have neurologists? Absolutely. We have to have a neurologist in Florida. Our one son, he's on several different medications. And some people believe in that. Some people don't. I don't like to medicate my kid, but I have to have some sort of sanity in my world too. And but it's not going to fix, but it helps for us kind of lessen the symptoms or at least calm. So we're doing that. So doctors are there to fix or to heal or to uh, exacerbate the issues or whatever, however, whatever level you're looking for. But the organizations and nonprofits are there to help support and find you resources. And there's just, are there some snake oil salesmen out there? Yep. And we've come across them. And I know we've all come across them in our daily lives, just not in parenting. But I have even in business where someone has been, yeah, they know my goal. They know what I'm trying to do. They know my life, and yet still they're gonna still be unethical. So I've learned that unfortunately as well. But that I would say, really, just you need to have some discernment on who you'll learn it if you're new or you've already learned it, and you just have to place some trust in that. But just and what do you think as parents? I mean, we're the experts. I don't have a PhD, but I live with these two boys, and so that makes me the best person for them to figure out what is support. I'll take advice all day long. I will, but when it comes to what's best for my kids or what's best for everybody's kids, the parent knows, and that's what we want to do. You just want to do the best for them, and again, that's why I got into. That's why I just started my own business, and the partnership with my business partner of we have goals, and we want to elevate our families' lives.
100%. And if I can just summarize it, that I would say that's like a perfect definition of community, right?
Mhm.
Just seeing what you just mentioned about the beach, the
Yeah,
surfing,
that
other
became
parents, and that by itself, that type of environment is community, I would say as well.
it is, and I know I kind of go on a little bit about the surfing piece, but that was our life
Yeah.
for 12 years. We, in our attempt at when the boys were 5 to get them to be socialized. I had one child who was considered to be, I would say, um, nonverbal or very limited verbally. He would learn how to scream help at the wrong moment when I'm taking about a dog. It's like, that's bad.
Yeah.
But that's not a good word, bad word. And my other son, he has every ODD, ADHD, he's not stopping. And we had a comment made to us. It was in a church soccer league that this one parent said to my wife. She didn't know who my wife was. That she didn't want her son playing with those two twins. That's fun. One of those moments. But what it did, we're thankful for her because she drove us over to this surfing organization. That yes, it became our weekends. It became our vacations. It became we didn't go on vacation. That was what we had.
That was your
Yeah, it went up and down the coast of Florida with this organization because they were the families. The volunteers were just incredible. These volunteers would come out. They had no ties to any of our families, but yet they were doing it just as much just because they bonded with our families, with our kids. And so that's the pure definition of community. When an organization wants to create that from a business standpoint, from a social standpoint, uh, from a really, I mean, that became our therapy. I mean, we felt normal. It was just and the boys had an identity. They became surf dudes. Not everybody is seeing this, of course, is access to the coast of
Yeah.
Florida, but there are things like equestrian, Special Olympics or whatever, but skiing, whatever. But there are the buddy programs. That's a whole sense of community
Oh yeah.
um,
Yeah.
that that are supportive, and no matter what level a child is at. And um, if I that's what really probably for me it was a huge form of engagement, community, and just kept me going. It because I didn't focus on the negative of what was going on in our challenging in our life. It was and it was everything was just positive, and you know and um, and building relationships. And to this day, those are people we still definitely stay in contact with.
And so now that we're almost closing, I just wanted to also ask you, for those parents who I have a saying that said, what, like I mentioned earlier, hey, if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel anxiety, you're in the right place.
Yep.
What would you say for those parents, that they're kind of overwhelmed. Maybe they just got a diagnosis or they're going through,
Yeah.
something very straightforward that they can have a little bit, they don't feel alone or
Yeah.
anything.
Um, it is, and I think this is for, I mean, parent of anything that happens to your child or your child is diagnosed with, or, um, it's from the scary moment of us of, the boys got diagnosed at 3, and we didn't go to where my partner has dealt with hospital rooms and an ER, a scene from ER, doctors surrounding his child because something is so. The feeling of not being able to help at that moment in time. And I don't want to say the word fix, but I'll say it. But it's
Yeah.
as a dad of I'm used to I'm going to fix it. I'm going to fix it. That's what I do. I fix things. And there's a sense of helplessness. I think that it hits you at first because now it's like we're at the mercy
Yeah.
of a doctor. We're at the mercy of a system, and we're at the mercy of and what went through our heads. We were already living with it. I mean, we knew that when the boys got diagnosed at 3, we knew it wasn't a shock. But it was like, okay, it felt like at first it's not a death sentence.
Hmm.
And um, you're not asking to be here. We didn't ask for this to happen. We did all the right things and and you go, and you look at other people going, oh my God, this person, you see the person who did all the wrong things, and they've got this, you know, the perfect child, and it's like we did everything right, and what's up? So, you're going to question yourself spiritually. You're going to question yourself socially, and then you're going to learn how to navigate because you're going to start learning that the, the corporate world is not exactly, people talk a mean game, but
Yeah.
you're not going to find all of that. The rubber does not hit the road, all situations. So just understand that your life's going to change. Um, it can change for the worse, or it can change for the different. And different for us. There are amazing, better moments. I wouldn't change this life for the world. I wouldn't have met some of the people I've met. I wouldn't be living where I live. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if I had stayed in North Carolina. It would have been, I'm sure, a great life. And I mean, whatnot. I mean, my career would have been a different trajectory, and I would have met great people. But as a person, I guess we've just grown,
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome for
and
that.
so you'll be fine. I mean, that's the thing. It's like
Yeah.
everybody has, you know, some really probably terrible thoughts at times, and you're gonna have them. You're gonna go home. You're gonna be fine. And just everything. I'm not going to say everything happens for a reason. Everything just works out.
Exactly. Exactly. I feel the same way. Well, Bob, thank you so much for your time. Everybody listening, I will put Bob's contact information, his website. You're going to see there what he does, obviously his bio, and what he does as a business. So anybody who's looking around to doing any website, SEO, if you already are an existing business and want to just tap in, by all means, his information is going to be
Mhm.
out there. Or if I would assume that anybody who wants to just meet him, he's an awesome guy. Uh,
Thank you.
so yeah. So thank you so much, everybody, and thank you so much, Bob, for your time.
I appreciate it. Y'all have a great weekend. Thank you.